Hello and welcome to Filling in the Gaps. This is the kind of tradition now that we're in where we do like a winter sale video for Steam and a summer sale video every year now. And me and Justin, we both do our own picks. I think this year we're going to have a couple of crossovers. So we're both going to be recommending the same game. But nonetheless, you should go and check out Justin's video on what his picks are. I know for sure we're picking the same game because we both loved it. So these games are in no order. I wrote these down just basically as they came into my head. There's no categories here. It's just great games that I loved and games that I think you might love as well. So without further ado, let's get into ways to thin out your wallet and fatten up that Steam library. Alright, so my first one here is Rock of Ages 3. Rock of Ages 3 is... The franchise just keeps on improving on what they're doing. It's like, it does exactly what it says on the tin. You throw boulders down a mountain, you guide them around obstacles, and you basically just crush a castle at the end of it and then squash whoever's inside. It's such a fun game. It's such a fun game to just... It's got a little bit of strategy. It's got a little bit of tower defense. It's got a little bit of kind of resource management. But they're all kind of really thinly just put in there, sprinkled over the main bulk of the gameplay. The main meat of the game is just wrecking stuff. And so the levels don't take too long. It's one of these games that you can just pick up and put down. Highly recommended. If you like what you see, then the regular price of Rock of Ages 3 is $30, but it has gone on sale for a historic low of $5.85. So if you can get it for something close around the $5 mark, you'd be silly not to pick it up. Next on my list is a game that I got for free from the humble choice, and I was quite happy because it was one that had been on my wish list, and that is Superliminal. Superliminal is a game where you mess around with perspective, and you can make small objects very big, and you can make big objects very small, and you use those objects to solve puzzles. Simple, but deceptively hard. Superliminal is not a very long game, but they have just added this fantastic mode where you can do multiplayer, and if they're going to start thinking about opening up this mod to the community, and there's going to be community levels for free, this game has a serious amount of potential. The base price of Superliminal is $20. It has gone on sale for $10. I'm seeing here on Is There Any Deal that it has gone for $0. That could be one of these bugs where they listed it for 3 seconds at $0 by mistake. I'm not really sure how that happened. Or maybe it was for like a kind of entrance level demo that came out in the first place. I'm really not sure. But yeah, Superliminal. Great game. A game that nobody asked for, but everybody wanted when it arrived, or at least fans of the base game. The Outer Worlds DLC, Echoes of the Eye. If you are one of the people that liked Outer Wilds, because it's kind of one of those games that everybody either loved to death or they just could not get into, and I'm on the first side of that fence where I love this game to death. And so when suddenly they're just like, oh, boom, here's some DLC, which is basically an entire game, which is absolutely amazing. Maybe even better than some of the puzzles from the original game. Absolutely incredible. I had a really good time playing this game, and I couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. If you are a fan of the Outer Wilds, this is a must. You are insane if you think you can pass on this. You can't. The base price is $15. It went on its release. It had one of those like 10-15% discounts. It went for $12. If it goes below that for the winter sale, then that's a steal, because I easily got 12 hours out of this. Just be sure to stay away from the walkthroughs, because once this game is done, the replay value is very thin on the ground, other than mopping up some achievements. Okay, the next game is a game that I'm going to Next on my list here is a game called Catif. Catif is brought to you by the guy that did all of the ASA games, space adventure games. He's done, I think there's 4 in the series. Catif is number 2. I finished the first one of the Black Cube series, which was brilliant. I really liked it. It's a Myst-like set in space. The puzzles are quite hard. All the animations are kind of old school, HyperCard, or some of those like kind of dodgy old school video transitions from plane to plane. Catif is a diamond in the rough though for me, because it's a game that after I played Myst, for like the new Myst that came out, which is on my list of course, I wanted to play another Myst game, and so I played the Black Cube ASA, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I got into Catif, and I ended up buying the whole back catalogue. These games go for $10 each, but you can pick them up for 2 in a historic low of 2, and at $2 they're worth every single penny, because these games will take you quite a while to finish, and they are awesome. I really enjoy them. Again, the acting, the voice acting, and the animation style, and the whole gameplay style might not be for everyone, but if you like Myst-likes, then you should pick this up. Well, let's just go right ahead and recommend the next game. I kind of recommend this game, and I don't. If you own a VR set, then, and if you're an old school gamer who has played Myst in the past, then you're going to have to buy Myst again. I'm sorry to tell you, because if you're anything like me, you've probably bought this game about 5 times. Cyan just keeps on milking the Myst cow. Honestly, I won't be buying any more Myst games unless it's Riven or any of the other sequels. They've done Myst to death. It's like, come on, move on. Let's get to the next one. But saying that, if you have never played Myst before, now is the chance to play it in what it kind of, in all of its modern day glory. It's this version has really brought Myst into the 21st century. Much more than all of the other remakes and remasters and whatever, you know. This new Myst is really good, and I can't wait to get a VR headset so that I can wander around Myst Island in full immersion. That's going to be a trip and a half. Myst goes for $30. The historic low so far, because it's a new game, has only been $27, and so throw more money at Rand Miller. If exploration is your thing, and you want to, rather than exploring Myst Island, you want to explore space, No Man's Sky. I mean, wow, this game has come from like the pits of hell, all the way back up to the top, and it's a solid game. They've just the Hello Games, they have just never stopped. Despite all the death threats and all of the trash talking, they've just like been updating, DLC, free content, and the game today is still being polished. And there's still more to do, but I've had a lot of fun just wandering around the universe, completely aimless, and just mining and building and upgrading and just exploring and finding new stuff to look at and take screenshots of. And then there's mods which you can add to it. There's like community mods that people have done. There's just so much potential for this game to keep on growing and keep on getting bigger, and it does, because each of these updates has been pretty hefty. Yeah, so No Man's Sky goes for at base $60. But it usually goes on Steam for 50% off at $30. But Is There Any Deal has it at a $20 historic low, so if you can find it close to that again, then by all means. While we're on the subject of space explorations and Myst-like games, then we may as well just go ahead and say this next one that's on the list. The Solas Project. The Solas Project is, in my opinion, really, really good. It's brought to you by the guys that did The Ball, and The Ball is not the Solas Project in the slightest. The Ball is a puzzle game where you roll a ball around and hit buttons and get to an exit. It's, it's a fairly bog standard puzzle game. The Solas Project is a little bit of survival, a little bit of crafting, a lot of exploration, and a lot of and a fair smattering of puzzles as well. And it's got a great soundtrack, it's got a great vibe to it, it's got a great story. Yeah, it's a solid game. It's a really solid game. The Solas Project is $20 at base, but it goes for $8. Or at least it's gone for $8 in the past. I think I got something like 15 hours out of this game, so $8 is well worth the ticket. My sale video wouldn't be complete without a Jeremy Coulard game, so I'm going to say Fuzz Dungeon this time. Jeremy Coulard makes these weird, and I mean weird games. Just look at what's going on screen right now. He's an artist who basically makes games that kind of coincide or kind of support his exhibitions, and so Fuzz Dungeon is just bananas. It's a fun way to spend a few hours, and for $4 at base, it's already kind of cheap enough. Less than the price of the popcorn you would buy at a cinema, and you get to see this weird bananas movie, and they always have a really good soundtrack, and Fuzz Dungeon is no exception to that. It's got a really good soundtrack that goes along with it, and actually in the game there's even a music video that you can watch off the soundtrack. So yeah, it's pretty meta. It's a great game. I think you'll like it if you like what you see on screen, because that is exactly what you're going to get. Another game that just came out of nowhere for me was, it didn't come out of nowhere. It came right out of the 1980s, but for some reason, Bad Dudes just landed on Steam all of a sudden. And I was really like, whoa, that's not something you see every day. Click. It's $7 at base, and it goes for half price, $3.50 on a sale. It's a good port. It's the first port that I've played where they've managed to map the keyboard well, and they've not just said like, oh, this is a controller game, suck it, keyboard and mouse players. Like, you're going to be using all these weird unmappable, like unremappable keys, so good luck. No, it's not like that. The keyboard already is good. They've mapped it well. They've mapped it kind of similar to like the old school Commodore or Spectrum key maps from back in the day. And yeah, you can couch play with friends. You can co-op play online, and it's done really well. It's great. Cannot complain. And Bad Dudes was always a game that I liked as a kid, and I would always go and play it at my friend's house, and now I get to play it at my house. So just a bit of fun, a bit of retro fun that really quite translates well into today's gaming market. It doesn't feel dated. It still feels good. The hitboxes are fairly decent. It's still got that high level of 80s frustration. But yeah, the president has been captured by ninjas. Let's get him back, and let's go for a cheeseburger afterwards. Next one is a puzzle game, and it's called, I don't know how to say this. I don't know if it's pronounced Moncage or Moncage, as in montage. I don't know. Moncage or Moncage or whatever. This game is, it reminds me a lot of like The Gardens Between or Monument Valley, or things where you have to spin a little box around and you have to kind of use perspective, or click on things to like put them into place and solve puzzles. The whole premise of this game is to rotate a box which has different scenes on each face of it. So you might have, a room on one face, and then on the other side you might have, I don't know, a building site. And so the lamp from the room, if you angle the cube so that it's on a corner, the arm of the lamp will join up with the arm of the digger, and so it will create a truck or something like that. And then you just like little cutscenes to push the game forward. I've got no idea what the game's about even. All I know is that it is $15 at base. It's brand new, so it went for one of those 10% discount kind of deals for $13.50 as a historic low so far. You can also pick this up on mobile at about half the price. I think it's about $7 on the Android store. And yeah, it's a really nice game. It's been very well received. I haven't finished it yet, but so far I like what I've played of it. A game that, I like to think that I'm decent at puzzle games, and much like the reviews that you're seeing right now is like all like, yeah, I'm good at puzzle games. This game made me feel stupid. Filament is a really good game. It reminds me a lot of The Witness in its difficulty curve and also in its puzzles, because it's the same puzzle over and over again with multiple variations and multiple different rules that come into play. And so your job is to get electricity to touch these little pillars and then light them all up, and then exit the level. In the beginning, it's as easy as pie, but that difficulty ramps. They start introducing new sets of rules. They start introducing weird shapes. They start introducing different colors. It gets mind-bogglingly difficult, like almost frustratingly difficult. I think they've actually added a hint button now. I saw on the store page it says now with hint function for when you get really stuck. And I did get really stuck, and I ended up giving up. So I might have to go back because I might need a little push to get past this part that I'm on. But it looks beautiful. It's got a really chill soundtrack. The story is you're just on a space station, I think, that the pilot is like locked in their pilot room, and so you're having to go through all the ship's logs and stuff and codes and solve these puzzles so that you can open the doors to get to the pilot and set her free. But yeah, very witnessy, very cool game. Very cool, but very, very, very difficult. So if you want a challenge, if you have $17, it's yours. But it has gone on sale for $4, and so $4 is an absolute steal, because this is a game that probably will take at least double that or triple that in time. And so my last game that I want to talk about is probably my game of the year for 2021, and that is Inscription. Inscription is the newest game from Dan Mullins. He's the genius behind The Hex and Pony Island, and Inscription is a rogue-like card deck building game which has all the trimmings of a regular Dan Mullins game. So it's got some really weird meta stuff, it's got a lot of behind the scenes things, it's got a lot of twists, there's a lot of spoilers to be had, so I can't really say much about this game, other than it goes for a shockingly low $20. When it launched it went for $16, and that's all we've seen. It could drop lower this winter sale, I'm not sure if it will, but even at $16 there's hours and hours and hours of gameplay in this game. And it just keeps on getting better. It keeps on, I hate the phrase subverting your expectations, because that's usually a phrase that I reserve, that like bad games and bad movies, like, subvert your expectations has such a bad connotation to it now for me, ever since the Star Wars movies or something like that. Dan Mullins is bringing back subversion of your expectations in a good way. Inscription is fantastic. I just don't know what else to say about it. Don't buy it because you like card games. I'm not really that into card games. Yeah, I've dabbled in a bit of Hearthstone don't buy it because of that. Buy it because it's a Dan Mullins game and you know what you're getting into. You're getting into something weird, something dark, something creepy, and something that doesn't make sense immediately but will make sense in the end. Buy it for the story. You buy this ticket and you take this ride. And that is what your $20 is going towards. It's a fantastic game. I can't say enough good things about it without getting into why I like it. And I don't want to tell you. Go and play it. Get it. And so that's my picks. Now, there's one thing that I always do, and that is I always talk about what I want to pick up. And so, well, I mean, I've got a lot of coming soons on my wish list. I'm definitely looking forward to Somerville dropping, but that's not going to be until next year, so I'm just going to have to hold my horses on that. But let me have a look here. What are a few things I'd like to pick up? One thing that I would really like to pick up is called The Longest Road on Earth. It's a very story-driven looking point-and-clicky kind of game that has no dialogue. It's just all about music. It looks really cool. It goes for $10 at base, but I'll be looking to see if I can pick that up at a 50% off. I'm definitely looking to pick up the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but I'm looking for a really good sale on that. It's going to have to be something up in towards the 75% range, because I've bought all these games before, and so I know how they end, and I've played all the DLC. Graphics don't really interest me that much, but I would like to have everything in one place, and because my version of this game is scattered across CDs, and at least for a couple of them, and so it would be nice to have everything in one place with all the DLC. And I like what they've done for this. I like repackaging everything into one big box set is kind of into one big digital box set is kind of cool. And so I would like to own this, but it's going to have to be a really big sale for that one. The same goes for the Room 4. I've bought all of these games twice, Room 1, 2 and 3 so far, and 4. I bought them all on mobile, and then I've bought them all on Steam. And so the Room 4 is the priciest Room game on Steam. Well, bar the VR one, of course. It's $9 on Steam. It is worth it though. It's a really good game. It's a really good game. I'm gonna look for one of those big Fireproof game discounts that they usually have. They usually go up to about 80% off. I'm gonna be waiting for that for this one. Another one that is high up on my wish list is Little Nightmares 2. I love Little Nightmares 1, but I'm gonna be waiting for a steep sale on Little Nightmares 2. Another new release that I have had my eye on since before launch and following quite closely after launch as well is Sable. Sable is a very positively reviewed game. It's one of those very modestly priced indies, which it's about the $26 range, so it's kind of in the middle of it's a bit pricey for what I would like to pay, of course, because I'm cheap. But I would really like to look into. I've played the demo for Sable and I really enjoyed it. It's got exploration all over it. It's definitely something that I know I could get into. But I'm only going to get into it if the price is right. Once upon a time, there was a game called The Land of Pain. The Land of Pain is an indie game that was basically about a weird sphere that you get sucked into, and it takes you to this alternate universe of exactly the same area that you were in before. You walk through, you solve puzzles, there's weird demons and stuff, and a few jump scares, but it's generally a very enjoyable kind of horror walking sim. So the developer hinted at the end that something more was coming, and lo and behold, here it is. It's called The Alien Cube. I really like the look of this game. It is $20 at base. I'd love to pick it up for a steal though. Again, we can just hope for the best. I'm getting to the end of my list now. Another one is a game that came out quite a while ago. I've just been waiting for that good sale because I'm not sure how much I'll really get into this game or how long it is. It's called Genesis Noir, and Genesis Noir is about $15 at base. I'll be looking for, if it goes under 10, I'll be happy to pick it up. Another game that is on my list, it's been on my wish list for ages, and the only reason I've never picked it up is because I've not been brave enough to spend the money on it, because I'm worried that I'll be disappointed, but I've heard so many people say that I won't be. So I'm waiting for that good price. It's called The Coin Game. I know it looks like a stupid game about, well, pushing coins around in those silly games, but I heard that there's another level to it, and it gets kind of weird. But I don't feel comfortable spending $15 on a game that might not be my cup of tea 3 hours in, realizing like, oh, was that the twist, like, or is that the weird part? Yeah, it's not really grabbing me. But once that gets to a 75% discount, I'd probably end up picking it up. I think my curiosity would get the better of me by that point. I feel like it's almost time for me to play a Far Cry game again. I'd be quite happy to pick up Far Cry 4, 5, or 6, or whatever number they're up to by now. New Dawn, Primal. If one of them goes on one of those ridiculous 90% offs, I'd be very tempted to pick it up. I'm not desperate to buy one and get into it, because they're essentially all the same game. Go there, climb tower, shoot guns, kill. And so I know exactly what I'm getting. But like I said, I haven't played one since the third one. And that was years ago. And I'm kind of getting the itch to play one of them again. But I'm not actually sure which one I would get. Well, basically, whichever one is the cheapest, I guess. Another one is Phasmophobia. I don't know why this is on my wish list, because I'm terrified of horror games and jump scares. But Phasmophobia looks special. It looks like fun, and it looks like something that either the community could build on, or that the developers could continue to build on, adding new ghosts, new rituals, new items, new locations. It just seems like a never-ending possibility for something. I would like to pick it up though on a really big sale, because it might be one of these things where I buy it and then think, because I mean, watching someone stream a horror game is very, very, very different from me playing it alone with headphones on in the dark. And so yeah, I'm not sure about that. So big discount please. And there we go. So there you go. There's some games that I own that I'm recommending, and some games that I don't know that I'm recommending. If you own any of the ones that I don't own, and you think that those are solid picks, and that you enjoyed them, let me know in the comments. If you have any picks that you think I missed, let me know in the comments too. Chuck everything down there, go for it. But with that, have a great sale, and then have a happy new year. And we will be back in January with some more episodes. So I hope to see you there in 2022. Cheers.